It is absolutely game over for what we once knew as America. I mean, Russia, you know, there's something they say is called the golden rule. And it goes like this: he who owns the gold makes the rules. So who owns the gold? China, Russia, India, etc. And Russia just told us who makes the rules, because they went in, took Crimea from the Ukraine. 95.5% vote said, yeah, we want to join Russia. A few days ago, another eastern section of Ukraine said, you know what, we also want independence from this old stinking pile of garbage, formerly known as Ukraine. And we also want to join Russia and declare our independence from this old turd. And what did we do about it? Oh, we'll do sanctions, and we'll, you know, certain political members anyways, we'll do sanctions on in Russia. Really? Nice. Okay. So here's a shot back at Monsanto. As a matter of fact, Russia will not import GMO products, Prime Minister Medvedev says. As in genetically modified products. You know, the stuff that pretty much comes from America. Russia will not import GMO products, the country's prime minister said, adding that the nation has enough space and resources to produce organic food. Moscow has no reason to encourage the production of genetically modified products or import them into the country, Medvedev told a Congress of deputies from rural settlements on Saturday. Quote, if the Americans like to eat GMO products, let them eat it then. We don't need to have that. We have enough space and opportunities to produce organic food, end quote, he said. The Prime Minister said he ordered widespread monitoring of the agricultural sector. He added that despite rather than strict restrictions, a certain amount of GMO products and seeds have made it to the Russian market. So they're already there, but now they need to weed them out, so to speak. Earlier, Agriculture Minister Nikolay Fedorov also stated that Russia should remain free of genetically modified products. At the end of February, the Russian parliament asked the government to impose a temporary ban on all genetically altered products in Russia. The State Duma's Agriculture Committee supported a ban on the registration and trade of genetically modified organisms. It was also suggested that until specialists develop a working system of control over the effects of GMOs on humans and other natural environment, the government should impose a moratorium on the breeding and growth of genetically modified plants, animals, and microorganisms. So we've got 266 comments on this. Let's just see. And this lady appears to be Russia, or Russian. Olga is her name. I am so happy about Russia. Thank you. There are a lot of choice, real good products as different milk products, proper bread, etc. in Russia. As I have to stay most of the time in LA, when I come back to Russia, I'm just so happy to have all the proper natural meal in Moscow. In Los Angeles, there is no choice at all. Especially, I am not satisfied with milk products and bread. All milk products are very long consuming time. In other words, they last a long time before they go bad. Why? Because of the crap we allow them to put in it. Bread is like rubber. The government of USA doesn't want Americans to be healthy, giving big monopolies rights to feed people with all this rubbish to their huge profits. Next person, Maximus. God bless you, Russia. Go for grass-fed organic as much as possible. To its grass-fed has lots of omega-3s in the fat, and please export some of your lovely food to us in the UK if you have surplus. And there's more and more and more and more comments. 266 comments. Most of which are like what I just read you. Now, I heard that Russia also, and I've never really verified 100% on this, but I heard that Russia does not allow the use of microwave ovens in the country because they've recognized what it does to food or water or anything you actually put in it in a microwave, and it literally alters, I don't know if it's the genetic makeup or whatever, the food properties, it alters them when you hit it with a microwave oven. It's not cooked the same as you would on a stove or over a fire or whatever. It's microwave. It's literally microwaved. So we heard about that a while back, and since probably right around the time I think we got to Tennessee, which would have been literally end of January, whatever it was, February 1st or somewhere around there of last year, 2013, we decided right then and there, oh, we have a microwave up here above the stove, good, unplug it, that's going to be where we just store our bread. And that's what it was used for. We never turned it on, it was never even plugged in. Storage for our bread. When we got back to Florida, which is where we are now, as of August of 2013, same thing. Didn't have a microwave to bring back because we got rid of the last one we had, and we don't want one. When you look at the health of Americans, specifically Americans versus other countries, you see there is a huge, huge, huge problem developing, has been going on for a while, in our country. And that is because when you go to the grocery store, as that first person commented basically about the food, the bread and the milk, you're not actually getting real food anymore. I mean, there's a little bit of real food in it, but it's got a bunch of either chemicals or it's genetically modified to begin with. And as I've said many times, I've sat there and read study after study after study where they put these lab animals, rats, whatever, under this strict diet of GMO foods, things like that. And when they eat these genetically modified foods, the thing is, a rat or a mouse can reproduce extremely quickly. So you're able to see the, you know, the original mom and dad rat, so to speak, right? Then they have babies, then the babies have babies, then the babies' babies have babies, and all of them are really alive during that time. That, you know, they're just that quick. So, not that that would matter for the study, but at least you get to see what generations do of what happens when the parents started eating this crap known as genetically modified food. And literally, it wasn't the babies, the first babies from the parents. It may not have been the second set of babies. I can't remember now, but it was either that second set or the set after that had unbelievable dramatic effects to where they could not even reproduce anymore. The final babies, and again, I don't think it was 4 out. I think it was parents, babies, and then the babies of the babies. And that was where I'm pretty sure that's where they realized those babies can't have babies. Something has changed, and it was directly tied back to the food they were feeding them. Because when they fed other rats regular food, non-GMO, I should say, because regular food actually is GMO food nowadays. No issues whatsoever. They put them back on that diet, GMO diet, bam, same result over and over again. So the thing is, and this is what makes it so hard, where can you really go? Like every day, really. If you go out to any restaurant, I don't care if it's your favorite restaurant, unless it's some kind of specific organic restaurant that claims, you know, that's why we're here and, you know, we only serve organic stuff. Excluding that, because I don't know any in the freaking face of the earth right now, anywhere around here anyways, in any major city, you're being rest assured that you are getting genetically modified foods one way or the other. So when I go out to lunch almost every day, and I go to whatever restaurant, I want pizza today, I want a burger, you know, the next day. We want to go over to Genghis Grill, make our own bowl, you know, choose the noodles, the udon noodles. That stuff's probably genetically modified. The thing is, where can you go in which it's not? And we have such a problem in this country that you may be eating, you look at the can or you look at something and it says, here's the ingredients in there, you know, soy and corn and this and that. They don't have to label them, right? Remember that California law that got kicked down? All they wanted was, we want to label. We just want to label what is on these cans of food and the stuff we're eating. Just label. If it has GMO, it needs to be labeled. That's all. You can still sell it. We just want a label on there that says it has GMO or doesn't. And it got killed. What kind of person would vote no? What kind of person, whether you care or don't care about GMOs, would vote no to say, at least just put it on the label as that, so I know it's GMO or not? It doesn't matter, right? Maybe you're one of the people who don't think it matters at all, and GMO food's fine. And there's no study that they trust that's ever shown that GMO is bad. Okay, that's you're entitled to that. But do you think it's still a bad idea to just label whether it has GMOs or not? You can't say yes. Well, yeah, it doesn't need to say it because why? Everything else is labeled. It tells you what's in there, right? Yeah. Well, why can't it just say GMO corn or not GMO? There's no real reason, right? And yet, the millions and millions of dollars that were spent on advertisements, TV, newspaper, magazines, when that vote was coming around in California by the companies who wanted GMO to stay and not be labeled, was immense. That the amount of money was immense, and it was enough to where the people kept seeing it over and over. When the vote, proposition, whatever, they voted no. I'm gonna do what I always do, which is what the TV tells me to do. There was a movie, I think it was 1976, called either Network or The Network. And everything I just said right now reminds me of that movie, where he's yelling at the people and telling them, you know, you do what the TV tells you to do. And it's, you know, it's time to stand up and say, I'm a human, goddammit, and my life has worth. And I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore, right? Incredible. And the sad part is I was born the year after that, 1977, and I've never ever seen that movie until recent times. How is such a good movie like that, which it was just a movie, but very insightful, how did I not find that, right? But again, thanks to the internet, things like that, you find these things. So all I can say is Russia, China, these are the new leaders of the world. The US dollar is finished. It's going away. It will no longer be the reserve currency in a few short years, probably, if it can even go that long. This is exactly what Lindsey Williams has been talking about. End of last year, he said in about 3 months or so, you're going to start seeing these things, the monetary problems, the dollars, the devaluations. It's coming, right? Remember the whole thing? We've got 240 nations that have agreed to let the IMF revalue their currency. Can you imagine if those countries were like, yeah, we're with you on that. Yeah, United States and IMF, we got your back. We'll do that. We agree. And then they say, well, wait a minute. You know, I know we said behind closed doors we agree. But man, Russia and China, man, they've got their new currency. It's backed by gold now all of a sudden. Gold prices have went way up now that they own all that they can own. You know, I don't think I like the idea of letting the IMF revalue my country's currency. I think I'm going to go ahead and work a deal out with Russia instead. Russia and China. And strangely enough, while that could happen, that's not the plan of the elite, right? The plan of the elite is to do what I just said, which was 204 or whatever nations have agreed to let the IMF revalue their currency, and the United States will have a minimum of a 30% loss on its value of its currency when this happens. However, is it safe to say that some of those people who originally agreed are jumping ship? Because almost daily now, I'm reading about some new country that said something along the lines of, we want to make a trade agreement with Russia, or we want to make a trade agreement with China, we're going to use the yuan, we're going to use this. And nowhere in that article, nowhere does it say anything about using the strong US dollar. USA, USA, oh, pretty soon there's going to be one person chanting it. Oh, where'd everybody go? Oh, they've pretty much fled the country. They're moving in mass to China and Russia. Matter of fact, anywhere but here. Because here's how this goes down. Like everything, the only people left working and paying bills, paying taxes, etc., are the ones that the government can suck off of to pay for everything. And as more and more people lose their jobs, more and more people are fed up, they leave the country, whatever the reason is, whatever happens, there's less people to pull from. And the less people there is to pull from, the more burden is thrown upon those people. And people will reach a breaking point. And sooner or later, people realize, oh my God, what has happened? This is not what America was like. I mean, it's the same thing when you bought your nice new house and opted for the HOA fee, Homeowners Association fee, so that, you know, we all keep our yards mowed. We pay for that service, and we have rules and regulations we can't do, and you can't put up this colored fence, and you can't put up that colored tile, roofing tiles, but our neighborhood looks nice, and we pay, you know, $100 a month to have these extra services and stuff, like a landscaping and a community access to the pool or what have you. And then a lot of people can't afford their house payment, right? The whole collapse in the housing market took place. And all of a sudden, the management company says, man, we're losing that revenue. People are leaving. Matter of fact, they're just walking. We're not getting the money back. Yeah, we could try to go after them. That's going to take possibly years to get it back. We need revenue now in order for us to continue to get our paychecks and to continue servicing this community. We got to raise the HOA fee. And I've seen and heard cases where they've doubled and even tripled the HOA fee in just a matter of a few short years during the housing crisis when it started. Because there were so few people left in the housing community that were actually paying the fee. Some people still live there and just decide, I'm not paying the fee. Others just walked. That leaves the rest of the financial burden on the other parties. And there's no law, there's no nothing that says that that management company can't do that. They have to do that in order to maintain what was in the agreement. And if that means 5 people are left in your community, and you're all being charged $500 a month in order to keep the HOA fee going, etc., so be it. And that's what happens. That's one of the reasons when I first bought my house, my dad even told me, find a house where you have no HOA fees, you have nothing. You can do what you want, basically. That's where you got to go. So that's where we went. And sure enough, I've never, ever had that issue. But I've had friends that have, in fact, had that issue. So, you know, and again, sorry about their luck about it, but it's terrible that that happens. So what happens when the taxpayer base starts shrinking while the ballooning deficits, ballooning expenses that the government has keep getting higher, keep becoming more with less of a tax base to collect from? They got to get that money. We're going to have to raise taxes. You know, got to have to raise it. You can only do something like that so much before you have unbelievable revolt. And that is what it's going to take to bring the change that this country needs. But like all history shows, it's always after the fact. It's always reactionary rather than proactive. Proactive would be doing something now, banding together now, knocking the doors down on Congress, forcing them to retire, get the hell out of here. You people are all about yourselves. You only want to fatten your pockets. That's all you care about. Get the hell out of my face. We're taking back over. We're electing new people, and we're going to fix this. No, that's not how it works. That is never how it works. How do I know? Because history says so every time. How it works is the country goes into third world status. People are beaten down to a level that they've never been to financially, whatever, and realize enough is enough. When you can't squeeze that blood from the turnip anymore, so to speak, and they've absolutely had enough, that's when they revolt. When that happens in America, you will already have a dictatorship in place ready to deal with that. And as a matter of fact, some would argue that it's already here right now and sitting on standby. We have all these people who are selected in office, not elected. They let the president select people, selects federal court judge, Security and Exchange Commissioner, CFTC Commissioner, people who should be following and regulating the, not following, but regulating the markets. They just had the top lawyer. As a matter of fact, we're going to cover that in a separate video. It needs its own title. Take care.